here with Shannon Sizzlen Stampers again, and today I have a wonderful project that I hope will spark your creativity. Now, to get started, I'm going to be using the Ornate Garden from the Ornate Garden Suite, and I'm going to be using the Ornate Thanks stamp set. And I really like this set because it's got so many different phrases and words, and I love the two different fonts. And we're going to be making a cute card. So hopefully you'll watch the video all the way through and you will enjoy the project as well. And you will subscribe to my channel. Click that button. So a couple of things about what we're going to use. I showed you the stamp set, the Ornate Thanks. I'm also going to be using one of the scallop circles from our Layering Circles dies. I've already cut that out of our early espresso. So I'm going to lay that aside for the moment. We're going to be using the Stays On Saddle Brown ink. And I'm going to be using the Sprig punch on some of our soft sea foam. I've already punched this item, but I want to make sure that you know what pieces and tools that I'm using. So those are the items that we'll be using to make the card as far as tools, and also the 2-inch circle, which I neglected to grab and bring over here today. Got my projects lined up behind me. So we've got the 2-inch circle, and that's just on Whisper White. I've also die cut this tiniest ever cute little yellow Daffodil Delight yellow flower, and that is using the matching dies that come with the Ornate Thanks bundle. All right, so we're going to be using, to start, our Rococo Rose, which is one of our last year's new ink colors. Have new ink colors coming out, and hopefully you've paid attention and seen some of those. If not, check out my Facebook page, Shannon Miller Sizzlen Stamper. But Rococo Rose is one of ours from last year that I really love. So I've already cut that at 5.5. Sorry, 4.25 by 5.5 to make that half traditional card. Okay, that's my card base. Now I've gone ahead and I have cut a piece of the early espresso cardstock, and that is 5.25 by 3 and about 1/8. I'm going to go ahead and use our multi-glue, the Tombow multi-glue. Pull that off. It's so dry out here in Colorado that I almost always get a little bit of a dried out little covering on it. So I'm just going to put my early espresso, I'm just going to center that kind of on my Rococo Rose card base. Remember, take these ideas and make them yours. So you can use whatever color paper you have, whatever designer series paper. I've selected this particular pattern from the Ornate Garden Designer Series paper, or AKA DSP. So when you're on my sites and you see DSP, that's what I'm talking about, the Designer Series paper. These papers are always double-sided and they're always beautiful. So this particular paper pack also has some highlights of metallic gold in it, so it's beautiful. So again, I'm just going to use that Tombow glue. Get some squeezed on here a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead, and these flowers kind of look like they do go up one direction. And I'm just centering that on. Now for this particular card, both the Designer Series paper and the coordinate cardstock, the espresso, those are the same width or length, however you want to look at it, as the Rococo Rose. So I've got that done right there. Now for our next part, we're going to be doing our stamping. So I'll get my block out, and we're going to do the thanks the why and my friend. So it's like, why thanks, my friend. And the nice thing about these photopolymer, I will say they do, some of mine retain a little bit of the ink. But you can put them on there. I can put the entire saying really on here. So I'm just going to try to, another little tip is on these I can see through, and I'm using the grid lines on my paper to kind of just make sure that I'm following, I can see the line. So hopefully I can get the, that does not look, okay, there it is. So I can get the words on there as straight as I want. Okay, and then we have my friend, and I want to kind of have that offset. And that is not right. I have it upside down. These little tiny scrolling letters I really have to look at anymore. Apparently I'm getting old eyes. Let's see, I'm wanting to put it on the other side. And then the first one is the Y, and it's going to go over here. Okay, so I'm flipping that over, I'm looking at it. Now the other thing I like to do is, this is the circle that I'm going to stamp on. I want to make sure, now see, if you can look through there, I need to slide those over a little bit to make sure that it's going to fit on the circle. Because these particular, this particular thanks, it will fit, but just barely. So let's cross your fingers with me that I am able to do that. So I'm just going to ink my stamps up, just like so. I'm going to just look through that block and try to do my best at centering and getting all of the letters on, and I don't know if I quite got the S. Oh, I did, just barely. Okay. So I'm done with the stamping on that. And now it's really all about adhering. So again, I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to just put that on the back of that circle. And I've got my early espresso scallop circle layer. And I'm just going to layer that on. Just like so. Press that down really well. Now, I am going to use some dimensionals because I want to kind of pop this up a little bit off my card. I love the dimensionals because they, you know, people, when people receive a card, when it has a pop-up, they think it's something fancy. And as I'm always telling you guys, I love the wow without the work. People who know me have heard me say that. I love things that people get and they think that it took me a really long time to do, and it's super simple and didn't take me long at all. So I've got that, and I'm flying away. I'm going to sit that, and I'm pretty much going to center it, maybe just a little bit to the top, but I'm going to center my saying. It is going to have that triad odd numbered look that I try to go for because I'm going to dangle some things off over here. So the little sprig punch that we did in the sea foam, I'm going to just put a little bit of glue on that. It's another reason I like this Tombow. It has that nice narrow tip so you can get just little dabs on it. I'm just going to slide that up under there. And I'm going to kind of slightly pull those sprigs apart just to give a little bit more width. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my little tiny flower on. I am going to use one of our mini dimensionals on the back. And I'm going to pop that right over here, kind of around. I want to make sure the my friend still shows. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up one of the medium-sized gold, well, I will if I get some new putty on my pick tool. There we go. And pick up one of the medium-sized gold gilded gems. I'm just going to pop that right on the center there. Huh. Amazingly, 2 popped off, so I've got one over here, 1 extra. All right, I'm just going to set that aside. Pick to all over. And that is the card. It is that super simple. So I hope that this has kind of given you a little bit of inspiration and, you know, like I say, kindle your spark of creativity. So that's what I'm all about, is kind of helping you create some Sizzlen projects that will delight those that you send it to. And as always, once you make these projects, you got to give them away. Don't keep them just because they're so pretty. If you really want to keep them, make 2. So I hope you enjoyed that. Again, that is featuring the Ornate Thanks set and designer series paper from the Ornate Garden Suite from the brand new 2020-21 catalog. Bye guys.